guys, happy Tuesday. Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm sure you already know, but we're going to be taking a look at our budget for the month of September. So we're going to be tracking our expenses and seeing how we did. Now, if you are new to my channel and you didn't know, I had already done a September budget video where we actually did the budget before the month. So definitely check that video out if you haven't already. I will of course link that up here for you and in the description below. But I'm looking forward to seeing how we actually did this month, just because we actually had our wedding as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see whether we maybe overspent or underspent in some areas. Who knows, but make sure you do watch till the end so that you can find out. So of course I have my budget template here and we are going to go through it. Just remember, if you are new to my channel and you didn't know, you can also access this budget template as well. So if you are looking for a monthly budget template or weekly budget template, don't worry, I have got you. So definitely check out those links in the description below, because it will include that as well as a net worth statement and sinking funds calculator. But enough about that, let's just get on and see what has been happening during this month. So obviously in terms of the income we did receive for that month, that pretty much didn't change. And again, this is based on my salary that I earn from my own 9-to-5 job and also my husband's 9-to-5 job as well. The only reason why I blanked that out is just for like privacy reasons. But then also I do obviously have this side hustle, but I'm not currently putting that money into our budget at the moment because I'm reinvesting it all. So that pretty much stayed the same with savings and investments. So we did budget around 1,700 in total, so that would have been savings of 1,500. So essentially those savings are going towards trying to buy a property so that we can hopefully rent that out. We also still had £100 going into my own business, so again it's something that I am trying to invest in a lot. And then we also invested into my husband's stocks and shares ISA, so essentially that is an account that he uses to invest in the stock market. So again, 1,700 has been very consistent, and again I'm very happy that we have a clear system that allows us to prioritize savings and investments. Now if you are interested in creating a system or just knowing what you should be prioritizing, definitely check out my free guide below where it talks about the roadmap to financial independence. It's a roadmap that I essentially use to be able to understand how much I need to save and invest. So of course that free guide will be linked in the description below for you. So next up, let's talk about our essential bills. Now again, we have pretty much fixed costs. So when it comes to things like rent, our direct debits, when it comes to electricity and gas and water, that pretty much stays the same. The same with council tax. I mean, in the US you might call it property tax, for example. That essentially stays the same. So we paid $1,050 for rent. Again, we live in a 1-bedroom apartment in London, so that could be either really cheap to you or it could be really expensive, obviously depending on where you live, but that's essentially what we pay. We then put 50 towards our water. Again, that's pretty much a fixed cost and it's a direct debit we have. Then electricity and gas was still 43. Again, pretty much a fixed cost when it comes to our direct debit. And then council tax of 145. Once again, I do think we are overpaying on that, but I have still not been able to get in contact with them, so we're just going to pay 145 for now. And then of course our broadband is 29.60. That's essentially what we paid. Again, another fixed cost, which is great. iCloud was also the same, about 158, which we paid as well. And then also our own SIM contract. So my husband's SIM contract being £12 a month and then my SIM contract being £10 a month. Again, if you are interested in looking at our SIM contract, we do use Boxy and we do get a lot of endless social media data with that. So definitely check that out if you haven't already, specifically if you are from the UK. Those links will be in the description below for you, because if you do use my link, we both get vouchers, which of course is nice to have sometimes. Just remember to do your research in terms of what SIM contract might be best for you. And then again, with our TV license, we actually pay yearly. Now I was going to start a sinking fund for that TV license, and you will see that we don't currently have any sinking funds at the moment, and I will explain the reason why. But in terms of our TV license, because we did get married this year, we did get a lot of gifts, so monetary gifts, and with part of that money we actually decided that we were going to put money away for our TV license. So yes, in terms of the gift that we got from our guests, we are using some of that to pay for our TV license. Now a lot of you might be thinking, but you're supposed to be enjoying it and stuff like that, you should enjoy that money. Yes, we are going to be enjoying that money, but we also want to be quite responsible as well. So we have actually put money aside for TV license for next year, so I'm very happy about that. And then next up, of course, when it comes to tithes, charity and giving, that was all done as well. So yeah, absolutely amazing. And if you're liking this video so far, then feel free to give me a thumbs up, as it really does help to support the channel, plus it's free. So again, when it comes to sinking funds this month, you can see that nothing was paid, and again a big reason for that is because we knew that we were getting money from different guests. But you will see when I talk about our budget next week why we have continued not to actually put any money into our sinking funds. A lot of it is because we had monetary gifts from our friends and family, and so we've decided to put some of that money into our sinking fund. So next week I think I will go through exactly what we've started saving up for, so like the different categories that we have done. But what that essentially means is that we are probably not going to need to put money into our sinking funds for a while, which is actually really weird, like it's surprising. But yeah, that is basically it. So let's now go over to spending. So in terms of spending, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take a look at our Monzo account and see exactly how much we ended up spending for the month of September. So in terms of petrol, because that's the first thing we did, so we did budget £110 and we actually ended up spending £110. Now I remember in the beginning of the month where I mentioned that usually we do budget around £80 to £90 I would say on petrol, but because I was then traveling to work as well, that meant that we were probably going to use more petrol because where I work is outside London. And I was essentially right, which I was quite surprised at, the fact that we spent bang on the dot £110, because I really didn't know whether we would go over or just slightly under. But yeah, £110 is what we spent, and that is good because at least it's the same cost that we had budgeted for. Then in terms of groceries, so we budgeted around 136 for groceries, and that is equivalent to probably around £34 a week. That's kind of on average what we usually spend. We ended up for the first time spending less on groceries, so we ended up spending £104, which I think is like $148 on groceries for that month. Now if you do divide that by the 4 weeks, that is like £26, so very different compared to how much we've been spending the past couple of months. The past couple of months we have actually overspent just slightly, but this month I would say though a big reason for that is because we did have our wedding, and essentially what it meant is that there was some food left over and we took some food, and it meant that we didn't have to buy more food. So again, I'm still surprised that it was only £104. Like obviously it's amazing the fact that we have been under budget, but I think yeah, part of the reason is because we obviously had that wedding. But what it essentially means is because next month we are going to have 5 weeks until payday instead of 4 weeks anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take that money and put that towards our pay next month so that we can then pay for 5 weeks instead. So make sure you do check out my next budgeting video so that you can see how much we're actually budgeting for our groceries. But very happy that we ended up underspending for the first time, so that's absolutely amazing. So of course I will need to change my groceries budget to 104 instead, which means currently we are under budget by £32, which is amazing. And then next up was toiletries. So again, we budgeted for about £30 on toiletries, and we actually ended up spending £30 on the dot. So yeah, I think we did quite well with our budget this month actually. But yeah, spending £30 on the dot, which is great because it meant that we've actually spent our money. And then next up was spending. Again, I don't know if Yinka spent all of his £100. I mean, I know I definitely did. I pretty much had about £3 left, I think, at the end of the month. So yeah, I pretty much spent the whole £100, but it's okay because that's what it's there for. Money is there to be spent. So I'm not really too surprised at that. And to be honest, I don't think a lot of it was to do with things like eating out. I think a lot of it was to do with just general stuff and miscellaneous stuff that really just cropped up throughout the month. But essentially I had like £3 left. So, you know, I didn't go over budget. I was still within budget, just basically spent my whole spending budget. But again, that's what it's there for. So not too bad. And then in terms of date night, so we actually only ended up spending, it seems, about £41 on date night. Now we had actually planned to spend the whole £60. So we were also going to spend £20 on entertainment as part of our date night, and that was going to be going to a show. Unfortunately, the show got cancelled and then they ended up having to refund us. So it meant that we couldn't go there as part of our date night. Now they did take our booking fee of £1, so that's just been credited to us. So we ended up spending in total £42 for date night. So again, we were slightly under budget when it came to our date night, which of course, you know, some people will say, you know, it's really good, at least you've got to save money. But again, we've already saved enough money. So at the moment, I want to be able to spend and enjoy our date nights as well. So next month, hold it to me guys, we are going to spend that date night money. Please keep me accountable for that. And then next up was personal care. So we had budgeted £17 for that, but we only ended up spending £15. So not really sure where the £2 went, but can't complain there. Again, it's going to be a lot more, I would say, for the next month because we did have some money left over the previous month, which I then put away so we can then use that for next month. So that was great. But then saying that actually this month was also quite different because some of our personal care was covered in our wedding budget costs rather than this month's budget. So that's why it was a lot less than usual. Obviously, if you haven't checked out our wedding budget video, you can definitely check that out. I will link that up here for you and in the description below. But essentially that explains why we haven't spent that much this month. And then in terms of miscellaneous, so I think we budgeted £15 for that, and we ended up overspending in that area. Actually, we ended up spending £31 with that. So I will then update the spreadsheet. And then next up was our property magazine. So that was again £5. That's pretty much a fixed cost. And then we had also put about £1.82 into our pennies jar. So that was all good. And that's actually been slowly building up as well, which is nice because we can then use it as a little mini emergency fund. Now, again, just looking at our yearly roundup, just as a reminder, you can currently see that at the moment we are saving around 43% of our income, but our essential bills, and that obviously includes giving and tithes and things like that, comes to around 44%. And then our sinking funds are still around 1% on average throughout the month since starting July. And then we are spending around 13% of our incomes. So clearly you can see what we tend to prioritize. And again, that's just based on our own financial goals. Again, if you're looking to prioritize different things or you want to understand what steps you should be taking, definitely check out my free guide. Link will be in the description below. But yeah, essentially I'm very proud of the progress that we are making. Next steps is really just increasing our income so that we can accelerate that progress even further. So if you did like this video, then please do give me a thumbs up if you haven't already, and let me know in the comments, how did your budget go for the month of September? I do post every Tuesday and Friday, so if you would like to know more, then of course you can subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys on Friday.